how to transition from a corporate job to starting your own bookkeeping business. I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I took whenever I was transitioning from working my full-time job to quitting my job and starting my bookkeeping business. My name is Zach Pasquarello. I started my bookkeeping business 4 years ago. I was in the Army for 4 years, and then I was a warehouse manager back in 2020. And in the fall of 2020, I decided to start my own bookkeeping business. So I started my business while I was working full time. That's probably a lot of you right now. I was working full time, and then I slowly built up my business. And then about 5 months after I started, I was able to quit my full-time job. But I did not transition quickly. It took me several months. And I'm going to walk you through some of the steps that I made during that transition to make sure that everything went smoothly. So right now I have 75 clients. I'm making like $35,000 per month on recurring revenue from my monthly bookkeeping clients. I've been doing this for 4 years, and I make these videos just because I love talking about this stuff. I love my bookkeeping business, and I want to teach you so that you can start and grow your own bookkeeping business. Okay, let's just jump right into it. Step number 1, assess your skills and readiness for entrepreneurship. This is totally different from anything you've ever done working a regular job. You need to evaluate your skills. First, do you actually have the necessary skills for bookkeeping? This is kind of a no-brainer, but it's a great place to start. Do you like numbers, math, bookkeeping, accounting, business? You cannot start this business if you're just looking to make a couple dollars and get rich quick. It doesn't work like that. You need to actually like bookkeeping. I know it maybe sounds silly, but this is not a good business to start if you're bad at math or if you don't like working behind a computer. Literally, all I do every day is I look at numbers and I work at my desk, at my computer. So if you're the kind of person that wants to be outside or work on machines and like work with your hands, not a great business for you to start. But if you love finances and numbers and Excel spreadsheets, and if you're kind of nerdy like me, this is a great business for you to start. If you don't know anything about bookkeeping, that's fine. I did not really know very much when I got started. You don't need to be an accountant right now. You don't need to have work experience. You don't need a college degree or credentials or certifications. You don't need any of that. You don't need to be a CPA. You can start your bookkeeping business with no experience, although you need to learn bookkeeping fundamentals and you need to learn how to use QuickBooks Online. If you're taking notes, write this down. Bookkeeping fundamentals: debits, credits, income, assets, liabilities, equity, expenses, revenue, accounts payable, accounts receivable, income statement, balance sheet. That's pretty much it. If you can learn what all of those things mean and how they apply to bookkeeping, then that'll be enough for you to get started. And then also learn how to use accounting software like QuickBooks Online. Okay, mindset shift. You're going to be moving from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. You're no longer just doing the work. You're actually like in charge of everything. And that's a big change. You don't have a boss, a manager, coworkers. You need to be accountable. You need to be disciplined, and you need to manage your own time. There's a lot of freedom that comes with being an entrepreneur, but it's totally different. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. You can maybe be an independent contractor and you can work for other people still as an independent contractor. But if you truly want to be a business owner, an entrepreneur, then you are doing everything yourself. You're running your business, you're getting clients, handling marketing and sales, onboarding clients, providing customer service, actually doing the bookkeeping, dealing with clients. You're doing everything, communicating with clients, staying organized, running the day-to-day administrative stuff for your business. There's a lot that goes into it. It's very different from being an employee. It's also different from being an independent contractor. So just be prepared for that. Just make sure that you do some soul searching and make sure you really want that freedom, because with that freedom comes great responsibility. Look, you got to do a little bit of self-reflection. Can you handle the risk and uncertainty and responsibility of being a business owner? Whenever I got started, I was terrified. I'll be honest with you. It's really scary. So if you're watching this video, let me encourage you. If you're feeling scared or nervous about this transition, that's totally normal. I would be worried if you weren't scared. So the fact that you're feeling a little apprehensive, totally normal. It took me several months from starting my business to quitting my full-time job. So take it slow. Make sure you have everything in place. All your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Make sure you've gone through checklists and done some soul searching. There's a lot of risk. You're kind of like a salesperson. If you don't land sales, you're not going to make money. If you don't make money, you can't pay your bills. It's not like being an employee where you've got a salary, a consistent paycheck, you have job security. Even as an employee, if you get fired from your job, you can probably just go get another job that's similar to what you were doing before, probably making similar money. But as a business owner, as a salesperson, it's going to be really hard for you to take your current business and convert that into a job if your business fails. Likely, you're going to have to go back to what you were doing before you started your bookkeeping business, unless you gain enough bookkeeping and accounting experience that you can maybe go be a staff accountant somewhere, or you can go be in work in accounts payable or accounts receivable department for another business. But once you start growing your bookkeeping business, it's going to be very hard for you to get a job after that. So before you start, just make sure that this is what you really want to do. Because if you don't land sales, if you don't get clients, you're not going to make money. So you need to make sure that you can handle that risk and handle that uncertainty of being a business owner and not necessarily knowing how much money am I going to make next month. The ceiling is so high. The sky is the limit. You guys see my videos. I'm making more money now than I ever have before. But with that high ceiling, high risk, high reward. So there's a huge earning potential as an entrepreneur, but there's also a huge potential to fail. If you get a job offer right now, salary $40,000 a year, you're guaranteed to make that $40,000 a year as long as you don't get fired. But starting a bookkeeping business, you're not guaranteed to make $40,000 this year. So there's a lot of risk. Okay, with that risk, let's be prepared. Let's create a financial safety net. I recommend build up your savings before you quit your job. Have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses before you quit your job. I usually recommend 3 months of living expenses at all times if you're an employee. But if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, have maybe 6, maybe 12 months of expenses saved up. That way, when you quit your full-time job, you know for sure, worst case scenario, if my business fails and I don't get any clients for 6 months, I have enough money to pay my bills. The last thing you want to happen is you quit your full-time job to pursue your bookkeeping business and then you can't make your mortgage payments. You can't pay your utility bills. You can't make your car payment. You can't buy groceries. You got to take care of you and your family first. So be smart about it. Make sure you have at least 6 months of expenses in cash saved in case of emergency, in case your business fails. Consider starting your bookkeeping business part-time. Treat it like a side hustle while you're getting started. Keep your full-time job and just treat the bookkeeping business like a side hustle, like a part-time thing. Do it in the evenings. Do it on the weekends. Do it when you take days off from work. Work your full-time job and pursue your bookkeeping business whenever you have free time. The key here is that you have to be disciplined. You're going to make sacrifices. You might not be able to watch football all day on Saturday, all day on Sunday. You might not be able to watch Netflix for 2 hours every night before bed. You might have to wake up early. You might have to make some sacrifices. I always try to prioritize my family, and I try to make sacrifices with things like watching TV and being lazy. And not that there's anything wrong with being lazy. Like, we all need to take a break, but you guys know what I mean. Like, you can't watch football for 10 hours on Sunday if you want to start a bookkeeping business while keeping your full-time job. So you're going to have to make sacrifices. So treat it like a side hustle. Keep your full-time job, wake up early every day. You got to be consistent. Just maybe 30 minutes a day. Get started with 30 minutes a day. Start with a realistic goal. I don't want you to try to work for 3 hours every day on your side hustle and then get burnt out. I would much rather that you start with a realistic goal, develop a habit. So start with 30 minutes. 30 minutes every day. I'm going to do something relevant to my bookkeeping business for the next 30 days. If you spend 30 minutes every day for 30 days, that's 15 hours. You can accomplish so much in 15 hours. And then maybe after a couple weeks, increase that to an hour. Maybe an hour Monday through Friday, and then 2 hours on Saturday and 2 hours on Sunday. Imagine if you spent an extra 9 hours every week trying to grow your side hustle. That's not really that much time. You guys probably spend 9 hours watching TV and scrolling through social media on your phone. So if you just replace that stuff with trying to grow your bookkeeping business, then I bet you will be able to start and grow your own bookkeeping business while keeping your full-time job. And it's a great way to just keep it safe. That way you're not jumping to quit your full-time job too fast. Financial planning. Create a lean budget for personal and business expenses, especially while you're making this transition. So for me personally, I stopped investing into my IRA and my 401k for the first year whenever I made the transition, just because I wanted to be careful with my cash. I was making $100,000 a year at Amazon as a warehouse manager. Whenever I quit my full-time job, I only made $55,000 my first year as a bookkeeping business owner. I went from $100K salary to $55,000 in my first 12 months. Now, if you guys know my story, you know that my business doubled every year after that. So I quickly got back to my $100,000 salary. This year alone, I'm on pace to make more than $400,000, which I probably never would have accomplished that salary if I stayed at Amazon, unless I became like an executive at Amazon. I don't know who's making $400,000. Obviously, people are making $400,000 a year at Amazon, but I don't know how many people are. Certainly not in 3 years. I would not have done that in 3 years. So financial planning, create a lean budget, personal and business. So like I said, for my personal life, I really cut back on expenses. I was stingy. I was frugal because I wanted to make sure that I was able to make the transition. I was betting on myself. I knew in the future I would make more money, but for now, right now in this season of your life and where I was 4 years ago, I had to be frugal with my money. And then also with your business expenses. There's no reason for you to spend a ton of money on this business. You can keep startup costs super low. So this will be a real quick side note. I have a ton of resources for you. A lot of them are paid. You can spend a lot of money trying to learn how to start a bookkeeping business. I have one-on-one consultations, $100 for 30 minutes. I have digital downloads for $200. You can download a social media marketing strategy guide. I have a course for sale for $1,200, but you don't need to buy any of that stuff. It's there if you want it, but if you don't want to spend money, you don't have to. You can start this business basically for free. You can watch my YouTube videos. They're all completely free. You can do your own research. You can read blogs. You can become a certified QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor for free. All you need is a computer and an internet connection. And if you don't have either of those, you can go to your local library and probably get access to a computer. So you literally don't need to spend any money to get started to start your bookkeeping business. I never spent money on advertising or marketing or social media. I did everything myself. Even your website, you're going to need to spend a little bit of money to host your website, to get your domain, but you can make your own website. You don't have to pay $3,000 for a professional to make your website. You don't need to buy any of my stuff to learn how to start a bookkeeping business. If you want to, I made it for you. That way you can fast track to success. But if you want to save money and take your time, by all means, do it yourself. Don't pay anybody. Okay. Develop a business plan. Even small businesses need to have a plan. You got to define your niche, your target audience, the services that you want to provide, your revenue goals. So for the niche, I don't have a niche in the industry that I work with, but I do have a niche in the services that I provide and the software that I work with. So for me, I only work with QuickBooks Online and I only do bookkeeping. But you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you want to do taxes and bookkeeping. Maybe you just want to do bookkeeping for real estate investors. Or maybe you just want to do payroll for restaurants. Or maybe you want to work with Sage or Xero or QuickBooks Desktop. You can work with whatever you want. I just recommend pick something specific. That way you can become an expert. I am a bookkeeping expert. I can do bookkeeping better than your CPA because I do bookkeeping every day. Your CPA doesn't do bookkeeping. So there's just no way that your CPA will be better than me at bookkeeping simply because that's my specialty. Same thing with QuickBooks Online. Your target audience, do you live in Miami? Do you live in Philadelphia? Do you live in Minnesota? Where do you live? Pick your target audience. Are you going to just service local clients or are you going to market to clients all over the country? And what are your revenue goals? You need to have a goal. You need to have a goal so that when you quit your full-time job, you know, okay, if I don't have X number of clients by this day, then I'm going to have to go back to work. Like you need to have a revenue goal. I need to be making, for example, maybe $3,000 per month. So I'm going to wait until I quit my full-time job. I'm not going to quit my job until I have 5 clients and I've made $3,000. And then once I hit that point, then I can quit my job. But in 6 months, if I'm not making $5,000 per month with 10 clients, then I need to go back. Like it's not working. So you just need to set revenue goals. It's different for everybody. You might have a family of 10 people or you might be a single person right out of college. You might live in Los Angeles or you might live in the middle of nowhere in some country. Like in the country, not a different country, but in the country. So your revenue goals are going to be different depending on you and your specific situation. It doesn't matter what your goals are. Just make sure you have revenue goals. Okay, let's move on. Build your brand and your online presence. Starts with the website. Create a professional looking website. Like I said, you don't have to pay someone to do it. You just got to create a website. And then social media. It's totally free. You can get LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can share bookkeeping tips. I have a ton of videos on social media marketing. You just got to do it. Be consistent. That's all I'm going to talk about that. And then finally, transition strategically. So test the waters. Wait until you have steady clients before leaving your job. For me specifically, I landed a $9,000 cleanup project in February of 2021. That was kind of my stepping stone. That enabled me to quit my full-time job. I landed that client and I knew if all else fails, I will at least have my expenses paid for the next 3 months with this one client, this $9,000 cleanup project. So wait until you have steady clients. Like I think I probably had 4 or 5 monthly recurring clients, and then I landed this one big cleanup project. So don't quit your full-time job as soon as you land your first client. Wait a couple months. It took me 5 months to quit from October to March. October I started, March I quit. So test the waters, just wait. Just wait until you get a couple clients, wait until you make a couple mistakes, and wait until you get paid. And then for your exit strategy, set a clear exit plan with your goals for your revenue and your client acquisitions. Like I already said, make sure you know exactly how many clients you want, by what date, so that you know that this is going to work. And then actually stick to it. Like once you've set these goals, actually stick to your goals. And it's not going to work for some of you. I hate to say it, and it sucks, but starting a business, super, super hard. Most business owners fail. I will never tell you that starting a bookkeeping business is easy. It's actually incredibly difficult. A lot of you right now watching this video, it's not going to work. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's just not going to work. So set a clear plan for what are you going to do if and when you meet your goal or don't meet your goal. And then finally, communicate effectively with your employer. Don't burn bridges. Don't be rude. Don't be nasty. Maybe you negotiate part-time work while you're transitioning out. Maybe you keep your full-time job and you transition to working part-time for the same person. Whatever your exit strategy looks like, be strategic because you never know, you might have to go back to that job. So don't just quit, don't get fired. Be strategic about your exit strategy. And then whenever you're onboarding and managing clients, make sure you develop a clear process for onboarding your clients and set expectations for what services you're going to provide. You already developed a business plan with what services you want to provide. You've already tailored your website to explain the exact services that you provide. So when you onboard your clients, make sure you have a clear set in stone process for onboarding clients. And I'll be honest with you, I had no idea how to do this, and that's okay. You might be wondering, like, how do I even onboard a client? I did not know what I was doing when I first got started. I didn't even have a client agreement when I first got started. If you want to, you could probably find the client agreement on like Rocket Lawyer or lawdepot.com. I have one for sale on my website, harrisburgbookkeeping.com/store. I have a client agreement for sale. I think it's like $25, maybe $35, but it's the exact same client agreement that I use. And it's great for just outlining expectations. That way you're not frustrated and they're not frustrated. I've never had to use my client agreement in like a lawsuit to try to get paid. It's just nice. It makes you look legit. It makes you look official. It makes you look like an actual business owner by having this client agreement. And it just clearly communicates, here's my services, here are my payment terms, here's what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It's great to have a client agreement and be clear with your clients. Like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to do 1, 2, and 3. So be clear, communicate effectively upfront. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. That's the worst thing you can do. I just had a call with a current client. They want more like financial services. They want me to help with their budget and like financial analysis of what's going to happen next year or next quarter. And I told them straight up, I was like, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I can't do that. I don't do that. I don't do CFO services. I only do bookkeeping. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future. I only tell you what happened in the past. I can help you gather information required to make those decisions. But what you're talking about right now, those are CFO services. That's totally different from what I'm offering. I only offer bookkeeping services. So I might have been able to make an extra $1,000 or $2,000 per month by offering CFO services, but I don't know how to do that. And so if I would have promised to deliver CFO services, a couple things might have happened. I might have gotten frustrated and stressed out because I didn't know what I was doing. Or I might have disappointed my client because maybe I did a bad job because I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, I could have made a little bit of extra money, but it's not worth it. Stick to what you know. Do bookkeeping or just do taxes or just do CFO services if that's what you want, but don't mix it up. Keep it simple, become an expert, and don't try to branch out just to make more money. I promise you, you can make all the money in the world if you just do bookkeeping. That's it for today, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. If you're feeling stressed, just know I was in your shoes 4 years ago. It is really stressful, but if you develop a plan and if you are smart about it, it doesn't have to be super stressful. So make sure you guys just have a plan, clearly communicate with your clients, set expectations, save money, be smart with your finances. Everything's going to be fine. Check out all the links in the description of this video. I got a ton of resources for you guys. I'll see you all in the next one.